This is the 2021 Lexus IS 350 F Sport. It's the top of the line, newly redesigned IS, and a few months ago when Lexus announced this car and I made my video about it, I thought, man, they haven't changed the drivetrain, the numbers are kind of low, what's going on? Well, the thing I learned after spending a week with this car is that the IS is a luxury sedan that can also be sporty. It is not a sports sedan that can also be luxurious, and that's fine. That just means that you don't need to be cross-shopping with the BMW M340i when you're looking at this car, because it really is in a class of its own. It's a very classy car. It looks fantastic and it drives really well, but it drives more with comfort and practicality in mind rather than sportiness. And the fact that you can't turn traction control off while driving means that the car really wants you to keep it going straight and comfy. Most of the time when I'm reviewing a sports car, I want to pick up a buddy, head to the mountains, put it in sport mode, and have a nice spirited drive. When it comes to the IS350, it made me feel different. It made me want to go home, get a clean shave going, put on a nice shirt, and go out on a date. And the challenge there is finding a nice girl to go on the date with. But I can see it playing out in my head already. I pull up to her house, she walks down the stairs looking great. I have flowers in one hand, the keys in the other, and she says, "Oh, are these for me?" So she grabs the keys right out of my hand and decides to drive the car because it is a beautiful car that everybody wants to drive. It is not intimidating and it can be sporty and fun when you want it to be. Before we talk about performance, let's talk about the looks for 2021. The headlights have been redesigned, and on the right side you'll see in the corner it makes an L for Lexus, and if you flip that over you get a similar design to the taillights on the back, with a nice red center bar that also doubles as a brake light, and the car looks really good in person, better than in photos. Being that this is the F Sport model, it has wider hips with 265 tires in the rear and 235s in the front. I think the car looks fantastic. It's definitely a little bit larger than the previous model, and it feels good on the inside as well. When it comes to the driving modes, I drove the car in either Eco or Sport S Plus. In this one you have Eco, an individualized custom mode, Normal mode, Sport S, and Sport S Plus. I only drove the car in Eco or Sport S Plus, being that Sport S Plus adjusts the steering weight, the throttle response, and the gear mapping, so that was the most aggressive driving setting for when I was in the mountains. And to be honest, the steering was not as responsive as I would have liked it, and the gearing was a little bit slow to shift and a little soft, again telling me that this is a luxury car and not a performance car, although Lexus used a lot of on-track driving footage in their promotional videos. What's interesting is that if you fully disable traction control, every 6 seconds it will warn you that traction control is off and the pre-collision warning is not available, and that happens even in Sport S Plus mode. Now, the reason that I drove the car in Eco mode was because I took it from Los Angeles down to San Diego and back over the Christmas break, and I let the automatic cruise control with radar and lane tracing assist take over for me and drive semi-autonomously. It was easy to trust the system. I only had 2 minor scares where it almost left the lane, but it handled curves really well, and I really enjoyed the trip, making it low energy on my end, with me just having to touch the wheel every 10 seconds to tell the car that I am alert. Driving the IS for hundreds of miles at a time made me really appreciate how quiet the car can be in 8th gear when cruising around 2,000 RPM. I found the sound system to be the best one that I've heard in all of 2020, and it is an 1800 watt system from Mark Levinson. It's so good that I sat in my driveway for 20 to 30 minutes multiple times throughout the week with the car, just listening to music while it was connected via Apple CarPlay. This is the first year that the IS entertainment system has Android Auto and CarPlay, and it has this nice wide touchscreen, making the trackpad in the center somewhat obsolete. The last note I have about the sound has to do with the IS F Sport sound generator, which is under the hood. It's essentially an offshoot from the intake piping that sends sound into the cabin by pushing it towards the firewall, so as you accelerate harder and harder, the intake noise gets louder and louder. When it comes to practicality, I think the IS350 is actually great. There's decent legroom in the back, so if you want to fit 4 adults, it's fine. I'm 5'8" and could fit behind myself comfortably. The trunk is big enough to fit 3 or 4 carry-on bags. I was able to carry all of my photo equipment and have more space. And if you have larger cargo, you can drop the rear seats with a 60-40 split and have a larger trunk area where you could fit 4 rims or a large mirror, do some IKEA shopping, whatever it might be. I was a little bit surprised that I was only able to manage 20 miles to the gallon, even though I used Eco mode driving between Los Angeles to San Diego. I did, of course, have some spirited driving every couple of hours, but I didn't think that the fuel efficiency would be that bad. Overall, my take with the IS350 F Sport is that It's a luxury car, and because of that, I would maybe consider the 4-cylinder turbo version, the IS300, as a great daily driver because it has torque lower in the rev range, it gets better fuel economy, it's still extremely comfortable, it looks great, and it's got the reliability of a Lexus. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down and give me a comment below letting me know how I can improve. Huge thank you to Isaac, Luis, and Anna for making this video possible. And if you want to see more of my videos on youtube.com/shouldiget it, make sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.